So I'm walking this morning and something happened at work last night. I was supposed to get off at midnight, but I ended up having, and I say having loosely, but I ended up staying until a little bit after 12:30. And it was to everyone's, we're remodeling where I work. So that's why we were there so late, because the store itself closed at 6 o'clock. And I had to be there from 6 to midnight. And everyone understood that. Everyone who was working there understood that I was supposed to be leaving the store and locking the doors at midnight. That any part of the crew who did not want to be locked in the store until 5 o'clock in the morning needed to be out of the store by, at the latest, midnight, because that's when the doors are going to be locked. But of course, the IT guys were running late and they finished late. As a matter of fact, they didn't even finish. They planned on coming back this morning at 6 to finish. But they ended up working until a little bit after 12:30. And I was being so patient and calm about it and not giving them an attitude that the foreman of like the construction crew or whatever, he was all like, he looked at me and he said, "You are so nice." And you know how sometimes nice is a nice euphemism for stupid or foolish, or it's not necessarily a compliment, and not to say that he was trying to put me down or anything, like it wasn't like an insult, but he was just saying, he was like, "Listen, if I was you, if they wanted to keep working after midnight, they were going to have to be locked in the store with us. Like, if they wanted to stay, that's fine. If they wanted to keep working, that's fine, but they were going to be locked in the store." He's like, because, I wouldn't have stayed. Because it's, the thing is, it's not a matter of being willing or not to stay later than you're supposed to. It's a matter of having a schedule to keep. I'm not salaried. So any extra that I work, those hours add up, and I'm already at 40 hours with the hours that I am scheduled to work. I don't have any wiggle room to work an extra 30 minutes. I don't. My company is very strict about overtime. Now, I know for a fact that they do pay people overtime, but that was, because I've seen it happen with my old manager. But my new manager, perhaps being unaware that I already know that they do, he's all like, "Oh yeah, the company doesn't pay out any overtime. They don't do it." And I'm just thinking, yeah, they do. However, I understand that we want to avoid it. So we're going to have to adjust my schedule now and take out 30 minutes somewhere else to make up for the 30 minutes that I stayed late last night / this morning. And the foreman was all like, I wouldn't have let them do that. They would have been up a creek. And then his second in command, he didn't hear his statement. So after he said it, 10 minutes passed and I'm still waiting for the IT guys to be ready to leave. And his second in command comes up and he's all like, "You should have left. Should have left them." And the foreman was all like, "Sounds familiar?" And I'm like, I just laughed because I understand that I'm not like everyone else. You know, I knew that I didn't mind waiting, and I knew that because of the way the schedule was set up, that there was room for us to adjust the hours without putting the store in a bind. Like today, there's triple coverage. We only need double coverage. And so I can come in 30 minutes late today to make up for, that time. But I just, like, the foreman didn't like the IT guys, because right from the get-go, they made a bad impression by being late. The IT guys the foreman believed that they were supposed to be there as soon as he got there. Good morning. And he got there around 6, and he was all like, I need my IT guys. He's like, like they're supposed to be here. The IT guys didn't get there until about an hour later. And they had told him, like, oh, we're 10 minutes away, and they weren't. Or at least they thought they were, but he was all like, it's traffic or whatever. So they, didn't show up when they were supposed to. And so he already had a bad taste about them in his mouth, because he couldn't do what he needed to do until they did what they needed to do. So they put everyone behind schedule, and it showed when we didn't get out until 30 minutes after the fact, and they still weren't done. They still weren't done. And, what I didn't understand I guess he was just trying to save his own ass, because it's all like, okay, he's like, I just need to finish this bit, and then tomorrow I'll, put in the finishing touches on it. And so and he was like, and I need to take pictures of it as well. So I think he was just trying to, save his own ass, and, let his bosses know, like, oh, well, I did what I was supposed to do. But on the slick, he was going to come back in the morning and finish his job. So I hope he actually showed up like he was supposed to, because the way my boss is, if he doesn't, he's not just going to roll over and be all like, oh, well, like, no, it's going to be an issue. So and Terrence was all like, they sound like some scammers to me, just because when I was telling him about what was happening, they were just very disorganized and unsure of what they were doing. And like I said, they were really late, and it was a whole thing. But anyways, well, I was thinking about it this morning, about, being cursed with the title of nice. And because when you're cursed with the title of nice, people perceive that you are one to be gullible, to be walked over, to be spit on and looked down upon, and to be impotent, because you're a punching bag. Because no matter what they do, well, there's one thing they know about you, and it's that you're nice. So this is something that I've struggled with as I've gotten less anxious about dealing with people. I used to have panic attacks. I had social anxiety. I couldn't stand the ideal of, like, for cafeteria at school, I would not eat so that I didn't have to stand in a line in front of the entire cafeteria. Like, I would go hide in restrooms. I would avoid talking to people. I usually only had one friend at a time. Usually. I was just very, very socially awkward. And that didn't change until I went to the homeless shelter. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was my faith in God that gave me so much confidence and reassurance. I don't know if it was kind of, just being knocked down so low that I finally I felt like I was exposed and I didn't have anything else to be worried about. I didn't have to worry about being shy or tripping over my words or not knowing what to say because, hey, I was a pregnant bitch at a homeless shelter. Like, obviously something was off or broken about me, or, I wasn't gonna embarrass myself with it or anything. I don't know. But that's when I broke out of my shell. I would talk to everyone. I was pretty popular there. Well liked by most of the staff, most of the guests, like my fellow residents at the shelter. One of the staff commented, and I don't know what made her say it, but she was like, oh, it's because I was doing her hair. I was braiding her hair. And it took a few days to braid it because, I only saw her so often, I had classes and, she was working and every a new day, we would be hanging out with a new group of people. Like, I would be around a new group of people, of residents, talking to them and, carrying on. And she was like, you really talk to everyone, don't you? Like, you don't have like a clique or anything. I'm like, yeah, I try to talk to everyone, I mean, we're all in this together. But I don't know, something about being there helped me break out of my shell. And since then, I have, for the most part, not unfailingly, but for the most part, I've done okay socially, like in social circumstances. Like I said, sometimes I slip back into that old habit of being just uncomfortable around people and not knowing what to say and not wanting to be there. The people I'm thinking about in particular are my son's extended family. So we just don't click. But aside from them, for the most part, I do pretty okay. And for a while there, I was pretty awkward with Terrence's family. But now I'm, as time has passed, I'm much more comfortable with them now. Or at least with his mom and his sister. His brother is very, what's the word? There's a word that I want to use. I think it starts with the N. It's like nocturnal, or I don't know. But he's very, he has his own social thing as well. So it makes it hard to talk to him, but it's not because of how I'm feeling. It's because he doesn't want to. So yeah, But for the most part, I'm not socially awkward to the extent that I was before. Now, I'm not as charismatic as I was at the shelter. I'm just not like that anymore. Like some of the old me has returned, like, of, you know, not knowing what to say necessarily. But I think that's because, and I feel like my mentors say this, it's because I haven't found my tribe. It's like I said, like with James' extended family, we just don't click. I just don't click with everyone. Like, it's not there. I don't want it to be there necessarily. I'm like, if you're talking about stuff and carrying on in a way that I don't really care to indulge in, then that's fine. But that doesn't mean there's something wrong with me or that I'm socially awkward. It just means that it's not my cup of tea. So yeah, being less socially awkward, and since the birth of my new, like, not socially awkward personality happened, you know, when I was uber Christian, I'm uber fucking nice. Like, I am extremely patient with a lot of people in a lot of situations where other people wouldn't be. Like, extremely patient, you know, for things that doesn't deserve my patience. You know, very giving to people who don't give a fuck about me, not really. You know, loaning out money to people, thinking of my coworkers in particular, loaning out money to my coworkers, and it's like, you know, I mean, we're not close, you know, like, just, and Terrence would, you know, tell me all the time, you know, you're too nice. Too, you know, it's too much of it. And within these last few years, since I've stopped being uber Christian, like, since I'm walking away from that, and it is a fucking process, because Christianity had its claws deep in my psyche. So since trying to wrestle free from that, I find that I agree. I am too fucking nice. I need to stop being so nice to people. Hello. It doesn't serve me. I don't receive any. Hello. Well, I mean, sometimes I receive some kind of, I'm not altruistic. I'm not. I don't want to be, okay? You know, doing stuff to benefit people with no gain to myself. That's what I do. I do stuff that benefits other people with no gain to myself. And it's not even that cheap altruism where it's like there's no gain to you, but technically there is a gain to you because it makes you feel good. No, I do stuff for the benefit of other people when it hurts me to do so. Like, it pains me, okay? And I don't want to do that anymore. And the great thing about it is I do not accept that it is just who I am, because I know for a fact that who I am changes. So I am looking forward to this change. And to me, it all starts with repentance. Yes, repentance. Not repentance in the way of, oh Lord, please forgive me. No, repentance in the way of, I'm turning away from my old ways and doing something anew. I do not want to help randos if it's gonna hurt me, because quite frankly, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them. It's not my responsibility. And I feel like that's my problem. I take on other people's issues as if it's my responsibility. Like last night, they didn't want to be locked in, the store until 5 a.m., but they also didn't want to not finish their task. And that they can want whatever the hell they want, but it's not my responsibility to make it so. It's not my responsibility. That's all. Not judging them for their desires. It's just not my responsibility to give them their desires. That is random. It's not random, it's on topic. But something else that really bothers me is when, because at the store that I work at, we have coupons. You download the app and you get coupons, and people will demand even that, if they don't have their phone or if they didn't clip their coupons, they're like, well, you use your coupons. And I've done it a few times, more than I would like to admit, but one day my boss saw me do it and he was like, don't ever do that. He's like, they go around trying to scam different cashiers like that. They'll be all like, oh, whatever excuse, whatever reason why they can't use their own coupon, and they just go collecting people's fucking coupons. However many items they can get using other people's coupons, they do it. And I'm like, all you had to say was, don't do that, because I don't really want to anyway. I was just trying to be nice. And I am fucking tired of it. I would rather be known as something else besides nice. Because quite frankly, I'm not nice. And like I said, based off of my track history, maybe I'm lying to myself, and I am just that nice, pathetic little bitch. But I'm speaking it into existence that going forward, the change that I'm gonna reap is that I am not nice. I'm fucking human. I don't have to be superhuman nice. And I don't want to be, because fuck these people.